What is up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Lifting, Running, and Living with
We're living this week.
Yep, that's right. Got it right. With your favorite still coaches, Kelly.
Hello.
Hey. And JK, that's me. We are kicking off episode number 58 of the podcast. So,
Yep.
as we always do at the beginning, let's start off with updates. So, Kelly, what's going on with you these days?
Yeah. So my one update for this week is I said that as if we only choose one. This week I only have one.
Mm-hmm.
I ran a race this morning. Another race. It was 1.2 miles, which you might be thinking, what a weird distance. It is a weird distance, but
I am
the
thinking that.
same people that put on, the same people that put on the track race I just did, what was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago? They put on this series in the parks in Denver, and each race is one lap around the park. So
Uh,
this was for anyone in the Denver area. This was at Cheeseman Park, which is the smallest park. So 1.2 miles was the course. I convinced 4 of my friends to do it with me, which was
okay.
very fun. Yeah, it was a surprisingly small race. They split it up into like the open race, which was everyone who wanted to be in there, and then competitive. And they recommended some pace cutoffs for competitive, but you really got to choose which one you wanted to run in.
Okay.
Uh, and in our community open race, there were only like 30 of us, which was wild. I thought it would be bigger, but it was a lot of fun. It's a hilly course, which suits me better than a track race. I really struggle to keep like a consistent pace, but if I can have the pace go up and down,
Yeah.
it feels easier to me, even though it's still hard, obviously. So,
Hmm.
yeah. And then same as every other race, I just ran off of vibes and tried to just have enough for a good kick at the end. Because in this race, you finish on an uphill,
Oh,
which,
ooh,
yeah, I know, very rude, if you ask me.
that's a
But
little spicy. Okay.
it is spicy. You start going slightly up, and then you go down, then you go up again, then you go down, then you finish on and up. So it was kind of a nice altering of uphill and downhill, but we ran the course as our warm up, so we knew what to expect. And the final hill is definitely the worst hill. So the whole race, I was just like, I can't use too much energy because I need energy for this final hill.
Yeah.
And then typical, I don't know if you've ever experienced this in the races you've run, but a lot of runners can relate. You don't even know what I'm going to say yet.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
When you get to the end, you cross the finish line, you're like, wow, that was hard. And then you like see your time or your pace or whatever, and you start reflecting. And then enough time has passed. And by that, I mean like a couple minutes. And then you think, and you're like, I could have pushed more at this point in the race. But like, could you? Because during, it felt pretty hard, But looking back, I was like, oh, I could have pushed more early in the race if I wasn't like worried about this hill, because I almost caught 2 women at the very end, but I ran out of real estate. So I think I could have caught them if I had pushed earlier. But all in all, I ran a 7-minute pace, which I was happy about because that was not really any slower than my track race.
Yeah.
And this had
Okay.
hills. So yeah.
Well, congratulations. And yeah, you're correct. I have not experienced that feeling.
Yeah. I feel like it's more competitive runners.
I
Competitive with yourself.
I wholeheartedly
Yeah.
agree with with any most running events that I've done back when I did them. It was more just I just want to finish and minimally walk, like
Yeah.
minimally walk, that sort of a thing. I think one of the 5Ks that I did in the Chicago area, I did set a finish this under 30 minutes or something like that, maybe. But yeah, that was about it. With that half marathon, that was definitely just if you can make this
Survive.
all the way through without ever truly walking, and I
Yeah.
did. I shuffled like nobody's business, but I never walked. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's an
well,
achievement.
congrats to you.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
And I do want to shout out, these races have the best photographer. His name is Dave Albo. Um, he's like I've known of him for years. Did we know each other back when I did? I don't think so. I wasn't coaching yet. Or maybe I was coaching a bit, but not quite. I don't know if I had my podcast. Anyway, I went to this running retreat years ago,
Okay.
um, in Boulder. And then I went to the next one in San Diego, which is how I got connected with the San Diego races. But he was our photographer for like that weekend. So I've known about him since that must have been 2021, I think. Um, and he goes to like he was at the track race too, and he does like every event that Denver Athletics is the one who put this event on. They're the same one to the track race, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure they just like hire him for all their races, which is really cool. But he takes some of the best photos
Oh, that's
that
cool.
I've ever seen in races. Yeah, yeah, and we already got them back, which is pretty
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
turnaround is insane because we're recording this Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening,
Yeah.
and Sunday morning was yeah.
I can relate to that.
So,
So there you go.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was
I can
really
relate to
cool.
event
Yeah.
photos. Well,
Mhm.
congrats. Nice job.
Thanks. Thank you. That's it. What about
Let's
you?
see. For myself, two updates. Recently on a podcast, I
Mm.
was on a podcast called Far From Perfect with my friend and fellow coach, Kylie Larson. So,
Mhm.
little plug there if anybody wants to go check that out. The two main things that we talked about were advanced training. Like, what does that
Mm.
mean? And really, the context of that was that she and I have had these conversations before because we serve a very similar psychographic and demographic. And we've had
Mhm.
these conversations before where there's a lot of similarities because we serve a pretty similar population. And one of those similarities is when there's a training program, and she has someone who is actually on my podcast. Her name is Alejandra, who does the programming for her group called
Mm.
the Elemental Coaching. And she said that they will get questions or feedback, whatever, asking, do you do advanced training, or is this advanced enough, like that sort of a thing. And I was sharing with her in a recent conversation, that's what kind of sparked us just getting together on the podcast, that happens for me almost every time that I will put out something for our group training in the pop
Oh.
universe. There will be at least one person who will reach out and just say, "Hey, I took a look at it. Do you have anything that's more advanced? Because I took a look at the program."
Hmm.
Or I will always remember this because I thought it was really, really interesting where someone did one of our challenges with
Mhm.
Pop. So they did one of our challenges, and I want to say, let's say that this one was like a 6-week challenge. I can't remember exactly the length,
Okay.
but it was somewhere in that range. And they did the challenge, and they got all the way through it. They did the programming, and they got the results. Really, it seemed like that they were looking for from
Mhm.
consistency, body composition. They were in pretty good shape already, and just said like, "Hey, I'm just looking for something, just to kind of like." Basically, the phrasing is always like the last 5 pounds or something like that, but they weren't quite phrasing it that way. They were just like, "Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
looking to tighten up a little bit more," that sort of a thing. And it was really interesting because on their exit survey, because we do an exit survey at the end, and on the exit survey they commented that about all the great results that they had and whatnot. And I could see that they logged the training program and they did the training program, and the
Mhm.
feedback that they gave was the training was great, and I understand why JK, or it was something along the lines of like, I get it that it can be really tough to program for large groups of people. Um, so, it was cool, but I'm thinking that I probably need something that's a little bit more advanced. And I get commentary like that at least
Yeah.
once most of the time. But what typically happens is I'll tell folks, well, one, kind of describe for me what you're talking about when it comes to advanced, and two,
Mhm.
have you done the training? Like, have you done any of the workouts for more than a week or something like that? And 120% of the time they haven't. and I'm obviously being sarcastic, but yeah, very rarely have they, never actually has somebody done the training before reaching out. And very
Mm,
regularly, if it's somebody who does like we maintain some conversation, they come back a few weeks later because I'll say, give me what you got for 3 weeks. Like really,
yeah.
like do it the way I've designed it for 3 weeks, as far as really dial in the specific tempo that I'm talking about, dial in the specific reps in reserve or RPE, like rate of perceived exertion that I've designed, like all that. Like make sure you really pay attention to that,
Yeah.
and then reach back out and let's connect. And I'd love to get your feedback. Like I really want to know.
Uh-huh.
And to a person who's reached out, like each person every time, they're like, yeah, we're just gonna keep rolling with the way you got it. I'm good. Because yeah. Now granted, there probably are other people. I'm not saying that everybody ends up reaching back out, but
Hmm.
it can be fairly common because people will look at something on the screen, not paper, but on the screen, and go,
Yeah.
yeah, this just looks too basic. It looks too simple. So Kylie and I had a
Mm.
great conversation about that. And then we also talked about something that I've talked about before, with like the 6 week program is now like the new quick fix. And I'm not talking
Oh,
all 6 week programs. However, really just
yeah.
focusing on this understanding of to truly move towards achieving a target and then maintaining some range of the target that you've just hit or the result that you've just gotten. You need to spend a certain amount of time understanding where you currently are, like to even start. So for most
Hmm.
people, trying to go into the goal achievement phase expecting to get there and stay within the range of that within 6 weeks typically is now like the new quick fix. Like it's no longer the 21
Mm.
days is the quick fix. Now
Yeah.
it's like 6 weeks. So that was a really good
Mm.
yeah, that's going to be my update because I wanted to keep it pretty efficient. But
Okay.
that's going to be my update is yeah, it's been cool to have that conversation. And that was just one of those days where I had that podcast conversation and then had like that very same day, 2 or 3 other like either calls or conversations that were just like really kind of re-engaging and refocusing on like why I do what I do with
Mm.
coaching. So I'm not saying that all of the conversations were, super rosy and everything's great. It was just like one of them we were really having to work through like some beliefs, like some hardcore belief shifting
Mm.
and accountability. And it, I've, I think it was a really, really effective conversation. So yeah, just things are going pretty solid just on that front with really getting the coaching work done. So that's
Nice.
that's the update that I'll share. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Far
right.
from perfect.
Yeah, Far From Perfect with Kylie Larson. It's the most recent episode.
Okay.
I think she titled it Advanced Strength Training. So if anybody wants to
Sweet.
check that out, then yeah, give it a listen. Let us know, or let me know what you think. Appreciate it.
If I can find the link, I'll link it
Word. All right.
if I remember.
Cool.
All right. So, main topic?
Yeah. Let's see here. Do you want me to intro it or
No, I can intro it.
perfect?
So, we got a message from one of our listeners, Nicole. Shout out to Nicole
Shout out.
about the beer mile championships.
Yeah. Okay.
uh, which is very funny timing because last weekend the beer mile championships came across my YouTube algorithm and I did watch the women's race.
Was that
So,
the one that she sent you?
no, she sent me the men's race. It was a reel about the men's race because in the men's race they broke the world record.
Wait, now I'm wondering what I got because the reel that you sent me was definitely all women.
Was it?
For sure.
Oh, the photo, cover photo is definitely the men's.
That is
'Cause it,
super. Yeah, that's super interesting because it's definitely, yeah, it was definitely all females.
clearly, I did not watch this reel.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
opened it
It
Because
starts with
I was like, oh yeah, I'm
556 beer
familiar with
mile.
this.
Yeah, I'm
Five.
looking.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But which is interesting because
There's multiple of
anyway,
these. Okay.
well, there's a men's and the women's race, but
Yeah.
in the men's race they broke the world record. The
Oh, I did not
women
know
ran their
that.
race first. Yeah. The new world record is like 4:27 for men, and
That's wild.
yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Anyways.
And
Yeah.
for
Wow.
women, so the women's world record, I looked this up yesterday because I was curious. Because that 5:56 is not a world record, but it was the first time that woman had gone under 6 minutes. I think she ran 6:03 in 2023. But 2023 is when, and this is interesting. Uh, this is kind of a tangent. Shelby Houlihan holds the world record for the women's beer mile, and I think she ran like 5:43 or something.
Okay.
Um, and I don't think we had talked about this because it happened back in COVID. Shelby Houlihan got a 4-year doping ban in 2020 because they found, oh my God, what's the name? One of the drugs, it starts with an N. It's not EPO, it's not testosterone. Obviously, they don't start with N's. It's like Naxaprone or something. That's wrong,
Okay.
but she got caught with that in her system, and she said it was a burrito that she ate from a food truck, which no one believed. No one I saw, I should say, no one that I saw on the internet believed. Uh, and so the big news now, this has nothing to do with the beer mile, but she wasn't allowed to do any official like USATF events, anything like that. Olympics, she missed 2 Olympics because of it. Apparently, she was allowed to run the beer mile, which is kind of interesting because she was still in her ban period. It just expired this year. She's back now. She just made a world championship team for the US last weekend, which the internet is up in arms about some of them. So
Is the beer mile a sanctioned event?
I
Because when you mentioned that
don't
you were
know.
surprised, you seemed
Not by
surprised.
USATF.
Okay. Because I'm like, wait, that, then yeah.
Well, I'm
Okay.
kind of surprised that they have world records. Like there's beer mile world records. But to
Yeah.
me it
I just
doesn't make
don't know
sense if
that
someone's doing a doping ban to let them have a world record in this event, you know?
it doesn't make sense that someone who's been banned for doping can compete in an alcohol based event.
Yeah, for a world record. This
It's a
isn't like
subs.
the enhanced games,
I well, clearly.
which maybe we'll talk about next year. They're
Yeah,
supposed to be in
what I'm
2026.
yeah, I'm my point is what are you I mean if you're allowing people to drink beer, what are you going to test for? Like what would be the like what's your standard?
Beer isn't, it doesn't help you run better.
I understand that. I'm just
It's not
saying that
performance enhancing.
yeah, you're not doing it right. No. No, I'm just saying. I mean back in
I
the
just think
day.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. Obviously, I mean, they must not be sanctioned by like WADA, World Athletic Doping Association.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm thinking yeah, I'm thinking that because if you were to have some specific things like that are substances that are banned in this particular genre of
yeah,
athletics, then you would have to I think you'd have to like be like, hey, you can only drink this brand of beer because we know that these ingredients in the beer itself are approved like
I don't. I
from
think we're
only
talking
this
about two
brewery.
very different things.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm just talking about an athlete that is banned from running sports being able to compete in a part running event
I guess it's probably, and maybe
or
this
a
would be
world
part of
record.
the thing. I guess it's probably because I just don't take, if you're going to call something the beer mile, like I immediately don't take it that seriously. So I would think that somebody being like, well, she's banned from, this competition, so she shouldn't be able to compete in the beer mile because she's ruining the integrity of the beer mile. I, somebody hate on me if you want to. I just don't see it in the same. I look at the beer mile as like a fun run.
But it's still a competitive event. If I were a
Well, you can
female
make
competitor
anything a
of
competitive
hers,
event.
I'd be pretty annoyed if someone was serving a doping ban and then competing against me in something that
That was centered
involves
around
what they got.
beer.
It's centered around running, and there's beer in
Oh
between.
my gosh. It's oh my gosh. Okay. Well, herein lies the topic, folks. So, anyways, do you want to get back to what Nicole asked us? Because
Now I'm annoyed.
yeah, I could tell. I could tell. You've got your annoyed face on. I I know.
Anyway, well, one of Nicole's questions is if this is not a serious sport or not. It is worldwide. They just had championships in Portugal, so there's that, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, I so from my point of view, which I think has already been laid out there on the table, when it comes to, and I'm going to attempt to not like make it too nuancy. I think that when it comes to something like this, I don't look at this as the same, like anywhere near the same category of competitive, of any other like competitive type running or whatever it may be. Like if it's centered around, I think that it's the alcohol piece for me. Like if you're talking about,
So if it was like a milk mile, you'd feel differently.
hmm, no, probably same thing. You know, you have a good point. No, probably same thing. Like if it's something, because how does the beer mile go? You drink every whatever.
Oh yeah, we should explain that.
Yeah,
So
probably be good.
I don't know the rules on what kind of beer or
Okay.
like what options you have.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice one watching the race. They line them up on a table, and it looked like not everyone had the same beer.
Okay.
Uh, but the order of events is you chug a beer, run a lap, do it 4 times.
Oh, I see
So
it.
in between
Okay.
each lap, you have to chug a full beer. If you throw up, it's a 2-minute penalty. I think that's the biggest thing. So, and you have to stay in like a certain area while you're chugging. So I think it's like 10 meters or something.
I
At least
found
in like the world championship
I found a
race.
little like Google snippet on it.
Oh,
So key elements of a beer mile, as you've explained, like 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers. 4 12-ounce beers must have a minimum alcohol content of 5% alcohol by
mm,
volume. It's a 400-meter track with each lap preceded by a beer. There's a chug
yep,
zone, which is the area where the beer must be consumed before each lap. So you got to chug it. And then a
yep.
penalty, like you said, vomiting results in an additional penalty lap
Oh, in the championships, they just add 2 minutes. They don't make you run an extra lap.
if
But
you
yeah,
vomit.
if you vomit, yeah. Probably just for like
Yeah, so no,
keeping things
I'm
moving.
not taking any, I'm not going to take an event seriously that has that has rules around like, hey, you got to make sure that it's that you chug it and then there's a vomit. No, I'm
Oh,
not.
you don't actually have to chug it, but you have to drink the whole thing
Well,
before you can continue.
yes, drink the whole
Yeah.
thing. You are correct. You are correct.
As Ty was watching with me,
Yeah.
he pointed out some of them are not chugging.
Yeah. I would say super for some people like that. I'd say again, I see it more as like a fun run sort of a deal, like a fun event, just there for a good time, that sort of a thing. Um, I'm not. I'm certainly not of the opinion that someone who does that is not at is not also athletic or something like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'd just consider it okay. Gotcha. Like you're doing your thing and you're having fun, drinking beers. Enjoy. But no, I don't. I don't. I wouldn't take. I don't see it as something that's serious at all. Like if you were to take this over to let's say like a athletic competition. I was going to say like a CrossFit competition, but you wouldn't do that with weights in your hand. But let's say it's body weight. Like let's just say it's
Mm.
like 12 stations and it's like air squats at one, burpees in the other, and whatnot. And the whole thing is like you chug a beer in
Mhm.
between each station,
Oh
you
god.
know?
That
So
sounds
say
even
something.
worse.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like it'd be like, well, if you're asking me if I would take that seriously, like consider that to be a serious event, no, I wouldn't. I think it's fun for some people. I don't drink, so there's a big bias there. I used to, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just that that's a bias that I have. Like I think that's just all right, cool. Like enjoy yourself, like do you. I love that for you. It's just yeah. Mm-mm.
I think it's only serious in the sense that it's like actually an organized event with different countries competing, you know?
Yeah.
Because
No,
like the beer
I get
mile was
it.
definitely a thing when I was in college that you'd hear of people doing.
Okay.
I never knew it was this big, and there were world records and world championships and stuff until now.
Yeah.
So I also would. I have a bias against it because I hate beer.
Okay. Well, so Nicole brought up a good question, and she said, "Do you think women are challenging a gender norm, and how and why did this all come about?" Now, as far as history, we're not totally sure about that, but her
I know a
question.
little bit actually.
Oh, cool.
I
I'm
googled
sorry, I
yesterday.
spoke for. I should not have spoken for you. That was stupid.
They have a whole website because I was like, where did this beer mile come from?
Okay.
Um, they think it originated in the 1980s in Canada, and that's the extent of my knowledge of the history.
Oh my gosh, you definitely made it sound like you were about to give a little TED talk. Oh my
No, I
gosh.
read the website and I
Okay.
was just like, okay, it just originated in Canada. That's all I know. And it's kind of funny because the new men's world record, if I remember correctly, is a Canadian because my Canadian boss, well, my boss's boss, he sent me the
Yeah.
video.
Do these do if you run an event like this, and whether we're talking like the beer mile or we're talking like the donut run, I think there's a local one
Oh,
that's
yeah,
here,
the
like the
donut
donut
run.
run, things like
We have
that.
a Taco Bell 50K
Oh,
in Denver. Yeah, you run a 50K between different Taco Bells and you have to, there's rules about like what you have to order at each one and eat. Crazy.
when you say the world record for those, is that world record? Are those records interspersed with non-alcoholic events? Or is it like the fastest person to run a mile while drinking a beer or after drinking a beer? You know what I mean? Is that how that
Well,
goes when you talk about records?
for the beer mile, it's the fastest person to complete the 4 laps with the 4 chugs.
That's wild.
At
Okay.
I think it has to be at not a sanctioned event, but like an
Hmm.
official event. Like you can't just do it.
Okay.
I actually don't know, but I assume you can't just like go to your backyard track, right? At a local high school, and
Right. Right.
you probably shouldn't go to a local high school and chug beers on the track, to be
What?
honest.
So, what do you think about? What do you think about the question though? Do you think women are challenging a gender norm when they do that? When they're doing events like that? I'd say
um,
that's probably specifically for the like a beer mile sort of thing.
yeah, simply for a beer mile.
Yeah.
I mean, living in Denver where everyone here loves beer, no. Like an equal
Yeah.
number of women and men love beer here. So
Yeah.
I it's never crossed my mind thinking of a beer mile like this is a men's thing and
Hmm.
women are challenging that,
Yeah.
you know? But maybe.
I'm aware of some communities where if let's say if you created, I'm trying to think of something that would be a scenario that would be realistic. So say you're trying to put together some sort of a community type event and it's mostly like an adult community or something,
Mhm.
or it's uh, a resort. You got a resort and it's like an adults only
Oh,
resort or something like that. And it's
okay.
like, hey, it's adult all inclusive. People, they came to get lit. Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That's what they're there
Okay.
for. They're not in there for the all inclusive bottled water. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and I could for sure see how there'd be this like, well, okay, so for the guys, let's do like a beer mile. And for the women,
Mhm.
let's do like a wine run or something like that. Like they'd make up like slamming
Hmm.
Trulies or something. It
Oh my
sounds like an
god.
awful idea too, but I could
Yeah, I don't know
see,
which I prefer.
I could kind of see that because I think I'm not going to say like what I think she's trying to get at. I think that where I could see this potentially coming from if I was in a discussion with somebody about this, there's this view of like when you see, a bunch of guys drinking around, sitting around drinking beers, watching a game, like that sort of a thing. And it's like, do you view
Mhm.
that the same? It's a bunch of women sitting around drinking beers, watching The Bachelorette. It's not the same. Maybe
Why
that's what
can't
I
they
was
be
talking
watching
about.
sports too?
I'm not saying that they can't. I am trying to I'm trying to come up with the basically the most like stereotypical
Yeah.
example. So yeah, I don't know. The comments in that thing were kind of funny though, because there was a decent amount of like no men could do this and guys would be like falling all over themselves drunk and whatever, or puking, and yeah, there was all
Really?
sorts of weird comment. Yeah.
They obviously
So
don't know there is a men's race.
well, they were just impressed. I
Yeah.
think a lot of them were just impressed. I was just impressed with the fact that they could run, like people run that fast. Like I think that's awesome that people have that run that fast while also having that level of like just fluid. Like
Yeah,
that
it's
that's the
disgusting
part.
to me.
Because I don't know that it would hit you. I think for most people it wouldn't necessarily hit you right away. I don't think as far as like the alcohol effect, especially
No,
if you're talking
I
about
think
it
it's
under 10 minutes even, like I
yeah. I think it's mostly the liquid and the foam from the beer.
yeah, that's the part that I'd be like, yo, like
Yeah.
the porta potties at the event are not the place you want to be hanging
No.
out, you know? I
Yeah.
don't
It
know.
didn't look like from the YouTube stream of the World Championships that there were many, if any, spectators.
Yeah. So
So,
why do you think that people gravitate towards events like this? What do you think is the draw from your point of view?
um,
Not just the beer mile, but just, themed type stuff.
well, I think theme type stuff is kind of different than the beer mile.
Do you? I'm open to hearing about that.
Well, I
Okay.
think the beer mile, like you pointed out, has this extra element of alcohol, which I don't know. I feel like tends to attract people in a different way than like
Okay.
uh. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a different one. So, like, remember those challenges that were happening during COVID?
Like what?
Maybe you weren't on this side of Instagram
Yeah.
and TikTok. So in the running community, it was very common because a lot of races were getting canceled.
Hmm.
Obviously,
Yeah.
um, people were doing like the Goggins challenge, which is running
The
4
4x4 by
miles.
48.
Yeah, 4x4 by 48. Yeah, that one. Or I think there was another one, but I'm obviously that was like a special situation for everyone.
Yeah.
People still do it though.
I mean,
Um,
I look at those things like that differently. Like even,
that's what
for
I'm saying.
example,
Like the beer mile feels very different to me with the alcohol element.
that feels like a that to me feels like more of a themed run sort of a thing. Like I wouldn't even closely for myself, I wouldn't even closely put that in the category of um the Goggins thing or a Tough Mudder or even a Spartan race. Like because I guess I look at it as like events that inherently have more of a competitive element to them
Hmm.
versus ones that don't. Now, do not do like miss me with because I have a feeling that I already know where half of your head is already gone. Like miss me with the whole like yeah, but some people can. I get it. I get it. There are people out there who have to win the warm up. Like I see you. I know. I get it. I'm just saying that if you're things like again like the Goggins 4x4 by 48, like the any sort of the Spartan races, even though you can do them for fun, I think that there's a certain element of competitiveness that's like already baked into things like that. I think Tough Mudder, there's elements of competitiveness already baked into that.
Hmm.
Whereas like the hot chocolate 5K, the donut run, the, turkey trots, things like that. I get it that they have competitive elements there somewhat if you depending on who shows up. But I think stuff like this is more bringing people together for just like let's have some fun, and then if you happen to be like a speed demon who's competitive, cool,
Hmm.
that's your thing. But you know what I'm saying, like that's what I'm saying. Like I wonder, it's more like why do people gravitate towards the events that are just a little bit more different. I think the competition, like people gravitate towards that because they're competitive.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And
just going off your your little robot notes that said endurance with the which does list Tough Mudder, which you just said is the same category as the Goggins challenge. So
I would do that. That's why I don't look to Chat GPT for answers. I look at it for sick. Yeah, I'm just saying.
I yeah. Well, I was just saying that's the category we're talking about. They all fall into it. Why do people gravitate towards the themed races? Is more of your question.
Yeah. Why do you think?
Mm. Um, I think I don't. It's a hard answer or question for me to answer because I don't fall into that camp
You're
because
not in.
I am the competitive one at those races. I go there to run fast. trying to think of why you would if you weren't,
So
but
I could I could see that like you're up at you're like in the starting pen and you are like,
literally.
yeah,
Wait,
and there's probably
for
somebody
me,
next to you who's like, man, isn't this so fun? And you're like, shut it, Sheila, I'm
okay,
locked in right now.
JK,
Yeah.
this one year I did
Oh gosh.
this like Halloween 5K.
Okay.
So I did wear a costume,
Okay,
so it
so
was fun.
that sounds like it's got a fun element to it.
It did have a fun element. It
Okay.
started and ended in a brewery, which is really common in Colorado.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like, I'm gonna run as fast as I can, obviously.
Right. Which no hate. No hate.
Naturally.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did not realize that is not the vibe of this race. So there was one woman in front of me and then me. We're so far ahead. And then we get back. There wasn't even a finish line. I get back and I'm like, where do I go? Because like you
You
like
didn't get
turn
the
into the
memo.
parking lot.
Yeah.
No, everyone's there like with their strollers, their dogs, their chit chatting. There's there for the beer afterwards. And I'm like, I'm here to time trial, guys.
You you totally just proved my point. Well,
Yeah.
it reminded me too of those do they still have them, the color runs? Remember
Oh
when
yeah,
those were
those look
huge?
really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like the midnight rave runs. Those were big
Yeah,
in
miss me with that
Chicago.
one though.
Like the rave
Mm-mm.
runs. Those were really big. I
They
know I
start way
remember
too late.
Color Run was all the rage. Like
Yeah,
all the
Color
rage.
Run was
Yeah,
huge.
so to me, that's more of a fun element too. I'd say from my point of view, I think that people gravitate towards those events because it's a way to add a fun and different element to something that you either enjoy doing
Hmm.
or I fit that demographic of it's a way for me to distract myself from the actual running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it's if it's got some sort of a little element to it that just makes it a little bit different, or even, and this would be, maybe a subcategory, if there's some sort of a cause behind it,
Mm.
then that's always
Yeah.
something that's kind of cool too. So
Hmm.
I think that's a really big draw. I'd say those two things is one, it's just something where like, yeah, I run occasionally or maybe even regularly, that sort of a thing. But it'd be cool like every now and then just to jump into an event just for fun, like have some sort of
Yeah.
different element to it. Like that'd be cool. Or that person who just like when I was doing that in Chicago with my friend Steve, pretty much I was doing a decent amount of those events. I would say because I even did some by myself. I mean, I'd say
Mm.
probably a couple times, realistically, a couple times a month over a 2 year time frame.
Hmm.
Like which I average a couple of times a
Yeah.
month over a 2 year time frame, except for when it was just like ridiculously frigid
Yeah.
outside, which is a pretty decent clip.
Hmm.
Um, and it what I wasn't doing regularly was going on runs on my own. So basically,
Mm.
when he would hit me up and say, "Hey, there's this, rock and roll whatever, or
Yeah.
this Teach for America whatever," and he's like, "I think you can do it because it's on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night." Because I was like, "Yo, I weekends are out for me," because it's when I was working in Chicago and then living here, so it was literally a 2.5 hour commute. I was
Hmm.
like, I could do it on weeknights, and so that's what I would do. That would be my cardio for like
Mm.
that week
Yeah.
or the next week. Yeah, so I think that's how I kind of see it. So those are some of my biases when it comes to that. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think some of them are also like tradition, like turkey trots. A lot of people do
Hmm.
it like it's a Thanksgiving tradition or like
It reminds me of that that I don't know if it'd be considered like a meme or whatnot, where it's like you
yeah,
where you make
I
the
know
mistake and
exactly.
you're married into the family that runs
The
5Ks on
turkey trot
Thanksgiving.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really funny.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think like turkey trots,
yeah.
like the ones around Christmas, Jingle Bell Run is another big one.
Do you? Let's see. We'll start to wrap up here soon, but I think this is a good question, little good question prompt. Do you think events like this complement or dilute the seriousness of running culture? I am very curious about your take on that.
I think it complements because like we've talked about before, uh not every event needs to be for everyone, in my opinion. Like when
Okay.
we talked about the Boston episode.
Yeah.
So it's good to have, you know, less serious arenas for people to participate if they don't want to be super serious and super competitive. The only thing I don't love isn't really about running. This is more about adults. Is
Okay.
that like I feel like female adults aren't encouraged to be competitive. So like I don't know, this kind of like ties into
Okay.
it bothers me when like you see a guy going to a local 5K and the assumption is probably like, oh, he wants to be competitive. He wants to run a certain time. And then you see a woman going, you're like, oh, she probably just wants to have fun. She probably just wants to, talk with her friends and run walk or
Hmm.
something. Um, I've
Okay.
never heard. No one said that to my face, obviously, but you gather stuff online as you see it. But yeah. And
Okay.
I've written about this on Instagram before and my website, like I think women aren't encouraged enough to be competitive. Like, it's okay if you want to be competitive. It's okay if you want to not, too. If you just want to go and have fun. But, like, you're allowed to want to strive for a time or, like, to beat other people.
Mm.
So, and,
Okay.
like, you can do that in the local races. Like, you don't have to go to a Boston, a Berlin, a London. These are all marathons. But,
Yeah.
like, bigger races, you don't have to go there to be competitive. Um, so, yeah, that's my only
Oh, gotcha.
it's not really
Okay.
a qualm about the events, because obviously, like, I go to the events, but I just have a different perspective on them and approach them differently than other people. But
Okay.
yeah, sometimes I do feel like not the events, but maybe like not even necessarily marketing, but in some ways it perpetuates the stereotype that like the women are just there for fun, not there to push themselves, which I'm sure we see it in like every sport as adult women. Maybe not CrossFit as much. I feel like that might be a
Yeah.
little more
Yeah.
more even.
I'd say,
But like
well, I'd say any sort of like, yeah, CrossFit or powerlifting or, I mean,
true, yeah.
yeah.
But like running and team sports. Like I was looking recently in Denver, the
Yeah.
Denver area trying to find like women's only leagues for
Mm-hmm.
rec sports and there's like none. Even the field hockey league is co-ed.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which like guys are allowed to play field hockey cuz
Yeah.
over across the pond they primarily play, not the women, but it's just like,
I was unaware.
yeah. Um, I once went to a field hockey camp in high school where all of my instructors were dudes because they were English.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. It's just stuff like that. It's like if we want to be competitive, you kind of have to like you don't have to, but it's like more in a co-ed space. Maybe that's why I like the Denver Athletics races they put on because we were in a women's only race and the men were separate, even though I like wanted to run with my friends.
Yeah.
But it's just like nice to harness the competitiveness between women, but not in a negative way,
Yeah.
in like
All right.
a catty way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just really got me think. Yeah. You really got me thinking. It's going to, it's something that has me thinking of really just, let me just kind of raise the antenna of awareness. Like,
Mm,
do I pick up on that at all? Like that sort of a thing. Like if I'm
yeah.
watching, so Mace is 13. So, when he gets to,
Mm,
or actually, yeah, because he's in eighth grade right now. And I'm just thinking when, if we're watching like his baseball field is adjacent to the girls softball field, like at his school, they literally
yeah.
butt up against each other,
Yeah.
separated by like big pavement or whatever. So sometimes there's his game is going on while there's a girls game that's going on. So come to think of it, yeah, sometimes I don't know if this necessarily fits like what you're talking about, and we'll start to wrap up here, but
Hmm.
I don't know if this fits what you're talking about. I'm just thinking like on a play where like one of the players on the softball field, one of the players is like slid super hard into home, or if there's like a collision at the at home
Yeah.
plate or something like that. Um, yeah, now that I think about it,
The
there are
responses are
some
different.
sometimes, yeah, where it's
Hmm.
just like, God, she's playing like so hard. Whereas
Yeah.
like when
Yeah.
I like if it's like the 12, 13 year old like boys, it's just like, yeah, what a hard-nosed player.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like the rest of life, right? Like, we see it in, like, business all the time, like, women can't be as you're viewed differently if you're just, like, firm, you speak your opinion, you know? A man is like, oh, he knows what he wants, he commands a room. A woman, is the B word.
I man, yeah. I agree generally. I generally agree with you, and it was not it wasn't as clear to me until I started working in less female dominated retail industries.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, because I pretty much grew up in fashion retail. So,
That makes sense.
and then even not just fashion retail, but then like specifically, like when I worked for the Gap, I worked for the Gap in St. Louis. And at the time, um, it was set up just differently where the biggest store and the store and the biggest mall in St. Louis, there was a women's only location. And then the men's location was
Oh.
like down the hallway. So it
Huh.
wasn't your tip. Yeah. And I grew up in that store and then ended up being the general manager of the women's only location. So I was very just used to being in, like, I was used to female bosses. Like, that was
Yeah.
completely normal for me, like, totally normal for me. For a number of years, I worked for Gap and then I worked for Loft by Ann Taylor. So, and then I worked for DSW.
Yeah.
So, like so then moving into hard lines, so moving away from soft lines and then moving into hard lines, that's very different. It's more male dominated.
Yeah.
So oh my gosh, yeah, I totally remember like some years ago when we had more females in leadership in a particular market that I was in, and
Mhm.
yeah, I totally remember like realizing as we were sitting in a meeting and I mean, when I say we were getting reamed about like
Mhm.
a certain like performance level. And I
Yeah.
just remember afterwards, some of the guys, because it was basically like a bunch of guys, and some of the guys were just like, oh, she's a whatever, and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And I was like, what do you, I just remember being like, are you like, are, are you guys butthurt right now? Because this
Yeah.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like, that she's just telling it to you how it is, and even yeah, even comments like, man, she must be her time of the month, and I was like,
Oh my god. Yeah,
are
don't even get me started on
you
that.
crazy?
Yeah.
Like, this is not, it's like, you sound like you just can't handle direct feedback from a
Yeah.
female. Like, that's what this sounds like. It's like, because she's not wrong. The stuff that,
Yeah.
yeah, we could do a whole nother, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you at all. I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
Not at
It's
all.
just interesting how I don't think I realized how it shows up in sport as well until I got older. Like, I've been in male dominated fields, work-wise, school-wise even.
Yeah,
So, like, I've known that
we're
spin.
so the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's great. Isn't that funny? Like, I've primarily
It's
been in
funny.
female dominated. You've been in male dominated. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, when you love math from a young age, you're destined to be surrounded by men, apparently.
yeah. That is definitely not me at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Well, let's wrap
Anyway.
this one. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, folks, we are going to wrap up this episode.
I was wondering what you were gonna say.
Yeah, well, you got my
You
wheel
got your
spinning because I
wheels
haven't
turning.
I
know.
haven't thought about that transition in quite some time because I made the transition probably about 10 or 11 years ago. But
Mm,
prior to that, for 20 plus years, yeah, I was just in a kind of in a different spot. So it just was nothing to me at all. As
yeah.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
one
yeah.
last story and we'll wrap it up. I was
Okay.
at the baseball game today.
Hmm.
And one of the guys on Ty's team was fighting with the ump, and then some guys from another team under like the same manager, like they're on a different tier of the league. They just we're on the sideline, quite close to me, and the ump was just like kind of not wanting to deal with anyone talking back to him on this
Yeah.
day, which is fair. It's the second game of the day.
Yeah.
They've been going since like April, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and one of the guys goes, "You're acting like a female." And I turned to them and I was like, "Don't say that." And they all just stared at me. So it's very top of mind for me because I'm like, how are they acting like a female? This is two men talking to each other, you know? Like, obviously, I know what he's trying to insinuate, but it's just like, I've seen you guys act like absolute babies this entire baseball season. And you have the audacity to tell them they're acting like a female while there's female spectators sitting all around you. Like, get out of here. Anyway,
I wish I could say, yeah, I wish I could say that I'm surprised. I will
no,
definitely,
I'm not
well,
at all.
we will for sure like wrap on this. I just, some years ago, and I attribute it to really once Ava came along, because it's
Mm,
something that I kind of picked up on probably more around, like not college, maybe like I'm not even going to say mid college because I got kicked out after my sophomore year or like midway through my sophomore year. But let's say like 2 years after I graduated high school,
okay.
um, is where I started, because I was at that point I had dropped out of college, so I was working like full time in
Mm-hmm.
retail, and just really starting to kind of form like my worldview for sure, and
Mm-hmm.
starting to see just how different people were treating different people depending on the experiences they had. Because at that point I had lived in a bunch of different states, 3 different countries including the US. Then I moved from New York to Michigan to go to school, and then
Mm-hmm.
relocate from Michigan to St. Louis. And so just that's where I really started to be like, oh dang, like not everybody has the exposure, so they're coming
Yeah.
at this from this angle. So that was like the beginning of like the whole help me understand kind of perspective of like, oh,
Mm,
I got it. Like you're acting this way because you've never been in this situation before, or you've never spoken with someone who
yeah.
doesn't like walk like you, talk like you, look like you. So okay, got it. And then as like then when Ava came along, I just remember um being like the work around like microaggressions
Yeah.
starting to like pop into my head, and paying attention to like different things that were said. And so I remember being around like guys sometimes where they would make comments like that, like
Mm-hmm.
don't act like this and blah blah blah. And I would
Yeah.
just go like, oh, so what do you, when you say that, like what do you mean by that? What's that mean? You know?
I
And
thought about asking that today. I was like, JK would ask this question, but I'm just gonna tell them to stop.
I still do that now though. At work, like in my in-person job, when somebody like
Yeah.
makes, especially if there's an individual who like makes a comment to one of my coworkers or
Mm,
something like that. I'm like, hey, just out of curiosity, like I'm going to take care of what your issue is. That particular comment you made, what did that mean?
yeah.
What do you mean by that? I'm like, oh, man, no, I don't. What do you mean? I'm curious. It's just very interesting how they just all of a sudden don't seem to have an explanation. I don't
Yeah. Or like they don't want to say it.
know, but I'm like, hey, own it. Like, say it with your chest. Like, I
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
was just
I know.
Anyways, all right.
Yeah.
So now that we're done picking fights, do you want to tell the folks where they can connect
You
with
can
us?
find us.
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram at Lifting Running Living Pod. Nicole DM'd us, so you can DM us as well and tell us what you want us to talk about or any topics or questions you have. Or you can email us at liftingrunninglivingpod@gmail.com, which, funny story, someone put our email in some job board or something and they think we're Natalie now. So that's the latest emails we've been getting.
Interesting. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's see what
But
we
yeah.
get hired for. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we are closing out episode 58. So thank you so much for listening to another episode. We appreciate you. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye.